go, stick girl. Hola. Hola.
Last we left you, we were departing the pass at Kaya Kaya and making the short descent into Leymebamba.
This is honestly pretty much what I remember of the town.
Where we wandered in the dark.
It says the road goes through, don't go through.
Before making a brief run the next morning to one of Chad's favorite museums.
Muchas gracias. I have been waiting to bring this weirdo here for a long time now, and I'm very glad that it was open on a Saturday, so here we are.
Museo Leymebamba contains a treasure trove of artifacts from the pre-Inca Chachapoya civilization, recovered in large part from mausoleums built into the cliffs surrounding Laguna de los Condores, some 20 kilometers, as the condor flies, from where we stand, nearly identical to the remarkably well-preserved Revache funeraries Chad visited in 2019. The complex, rediscovered in the late 1990s, housing over 200 meticulously wrapped mummies, sewn into several layers of finely woven textiles, some decorated, placed in wood enclosures called quipuñas, or otherwise covered in fur, feathers, or plants before being entombed, while others, likely transported over long distances, were wrapped in smaller bundles. The centerpiece of the museum is this climate-controlled room housing dozens of mummies, the final resting place of these warriors of the clouds. A small, nondescript museum sitting on the side of the highway.
Buen dia.
After our tour, we returned to our room, packed up, and put on our party dresses for what would be our final days in Peru.
It's right down there.
Winding our way through downtown Leymebamba, we jumped back on Highway 8B and started making our way north toward the fortress of Kuelap, Highway 5N into Peru's high jungle, and beyond the Ecuadorian frontera at La Balsa on the Canchis River. But first, we would follow Rio Utcubamba to Nuevo Tingo for the gondola ride to the walled city of Kuelap. Or at least, that was the idea.
Well, that's very disappointing. I wanted to take Rose to Kuelap. I had been there in 2019, but apparently now they're on a reservation system. Sometimes the sights and the attractions and the ruins and the whatnot that we want to see that do not abide by our spontaneous style of travel, so can't win them all, I suppose.
The Kuelap Fortress, surrounded by walls up to 20 meters, 65 feet in height in some areas, is believed to be the ceremonial center of the Chachapoya. Not only does it predate Machu Picchu by approximately 500 to 800 years, but it is roughly twice the size of South America's most famous archaeological site. Despite this, it only receives about 5% of the annual traffic. But all that looks to change with the installation of the new cable car, reducing what was a 4-hour hike to a 20-minute gondola ride, which offers amazing views of the walled city, assuming, that is, you have reservations. But much like the late great Anthony Bourdain, we didn't. So we continued north through the Utcubamba Canyon before finally hitting Highway 5N, Peru's northern jungle road. Which brings us to an interesting bit of trivia. Peru has 3 major highways running the length of the country. Highway 1, the Coastal Road, also known as the Pan American Highway. Highway 3, known as the Highland Road, through the Andes. And Highway 5, known as the Jungle Road, designated N in the north or S in the south, and often, confusingly, applied to parallel running highways or east-west running spur roads in the general vicinity, which can cause confusion. And as much as we'd like to, we can't blame it on Google.
That's cool.
In overlanding circles, Peru is as divisive as its roads are confusing. It has long been Chad's favorite South American country for two-wheeled hijinks, while at the same time the least favorite of others.
Ooh, watch out for the dog. Oh, what's got the dog? That dog didn't get run over.
Which, in our less than humble opinion, comes down to one simple thing. Those who tend to reflect on the country in less than favorable terms stuck to Highway 1, the horrid asphalt scar known as the Pan American Highway. A road so foul that Harley-Davidson named a motorcycle after it. A 6-lane abomination littered with big rigs, buses, truck stops, and tornadoes of rotting trash baking in the scorching sun. Those of us who adore the country stuck to Highways 3 and 5 in the mountains and jungle, where adventure lives and misadventure lurks around every corner. Not to mention ever-present road construction, necessary to keep the wheels turning and nature at bay. Which brings us to Bagua Grande for our last night in Peru, where Chad decided to come clean with a little behind-the-scenes drama that had been unfolding.
All right, so I hate just staring at the camera like this and talking because it feels awkward, but I don't really know how else to do this, so I guess I don't even know where to look. I guess I have to look at the lens, right?
And while he's busy figuring that out, here's a bit of footage from earlier in the day to help set the scene.
Thank you, dear. Onward and upward, up the mountain. Oh, this, huh? The foot doesn't work. It doesn't, dude. It's just like this useless limp thing at the end of my leg. You know, for reasons that are unclear to me at this moment, my right foot has gone partially paralyzed. And I mean that in the most literal sense of the word. Backing up about a week ago, we rolled into Huamachuco, and I had a real nasty stomach bug. In this case in particular, you know, after 4 days, things were just getting worse. You know, day number 2, I had like a real high fever. You know, I was back and forth to the bathroom like I can't even tell you how many times. You know, I was dehydrated, I was weak, I had lost color in my face. But on a few of my many trips to the bathroom, I was landing very awkwardly on my right foot. I was like folding my foot under, and I mean, even leaving the hospital, I damn near broke my ankle on the street because I rolled my ankle. So, you know, I just kept chalking all of this up to being weak and dehydrated and uncharacteristically clumsy for whatever reason. So then, you know, fast forward to the ride to Cajamarca, and everything is just off. You know, my strength, my stamina, my balance, my mental acuity. And again, I was still kind of dealing with the after effects of the stomach bug. I was on the Cipro. And so I just kind of wrote the whole thing off. And it wasn't until I woke up the next morning, our first day in Cajamarca, that I realized that the top of my right foot had gone completely numb. So I literally Googled, why is the top of my right foot numb? I immediately found some information for something called perineal nerve entrapment. And one of the primary symptoms of this is something called slap foot, which is essentially the inability for you to raise the front of your foot pivoting off your heel. So imagine if you're just tapping your foot to music, or even, you know, shifting our motorcycle the way we do with our left foot, the way we upshift our motorcycle. My right foot doesn't do that anymore. And that's why I kept tripping. Because when I was barefoot or wearing my flip-flops or even my running shoes like I was at the hospital that are cut below the ankle that have absolutely no support, every time I would lift my foot up off the ground, the toe would drag. And so I kept folding my foot under, I was rolling my ankle. You know, Rose brought up the fact that it's my right foot, and this is the foot that I did break in Bolivia 3 or 4 months ago, whenever that was. But, you know, I can't believe that that's at all associated with this. I don't know. I haven't a clue. All I know is that my broke. It ain't working. So, yeah, that's kind of the update.
It was, in fact, almost exactly 3.5 months ago that we were here, lost on the Lagunas route, where we crashed and Chad fractured the 4th and 5th metatarsals of his right foot. But those fractures had long since healed, and Chad's developing bipedal deficit had only recently manifested, coincidentally when he was stricken ill. So we really had no way of knowing whether this was physiological in nature or the work of some nasty bug attacking his nervous system. But either way, his riding boots were acting as an ad hoc walking cast, keeping his otherwise limp foot horizontal. But he was still, unfortunately, unstable, and having a difficult time interpreting input from the right peg, which was unsettling. But As he's prone to do, he forged ahead and hoped for the best, while enjoying his final hours in Peru's high jungle.
Yeah, there's a friendly fire right there, boy.
Approaching the Ecuadorian border, we made one final stop for some fresh juice and some rubbernecking at the expense of some locals who had lost their cable car in the river.
Hola. Did they lose the cable car that goes across? It almost looks like they lost the car that goes across the river.
An unofficial means to transport both people and goods across the border. Just a stone's throw from the official crossing at La Balsa. A lonely two-lane bridge connecting Peru and Ecuador over Rio Conchis, where office hours for immigration and customs are open to interpretation and subject to change.
Yeah.
Ya no demora en venir ya.
Yeah. Ah, okay. Okay, perfecto, gracias. Okay, we are here at La Balsa at the Peruvian Ecuadorian border crossing. We just got stamped out of Peru, and we're going to cross the bridge here over the river and hopefully get stamped into Ecuador. So, yeah, we're kind of officially out of Peru after about 2.5 months. All right, well, hopefully they just let us across the bridge without wanting to tear through our stuff.
How do we know? Do we just start going?
I don't know.
Do I just to get on?
Sure. I have no reason to believe they want to check our stuff. ¿Listo? Ya, gracias, chao. Chao, gracias. Over the river. Maybe they're going to disinfect us. Hola.
Like us personally?
Okay. ¿Y la moto?
No, zapatos.
Sí, solo zapatos?
Sí, por favor.
Yeah, no problema. We gotta clean our shoes off.
Oh.
There's like nothing in here. Alright. There's like...
¿Tiene agüita? Está seca. Ah, no, sí tiene.
Yeah, bien?
Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh. Get clean, woman, get clean.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're good. Hilarious. I guess we don't have to get the bike disinfected. Tried to do that before. All right, be sure to duck. All right. Hola, buenas tardes, ¿cómo está?
¿Ves? Sus viajeros vienen de Chile.
¿En Chile? Qué bueno.
¿De dónde vienen ustedes?
California.
California.
Sí.
¿Y a dónde van? ¿A Perú?
Sí, no, aquí.
¿Hasta dónde avanzan?
Ya. Y primero inmigración, ¿sí?
Ya, inmigración.
¿Dónde? ¿Aquí?
Sí.
Ok.
Sí, vaya. Pasas, ¿ves?
All right, well, migration stamped us into the country, into Ecuador. We're waiting on Aduana right now. Apparently their systems are down, so they're making phone calls to people in I don't know where to try to use their system and run our paperwork through and blah, 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 blah. So, you know, typical stuff. I love border crossings like this, so I love these small, kind of remote, quaint border crossings as opposed to the ones that are just crowded with people and everyone's pissed off. These guys in here are really cool. They wanted 2 wheels, 3 sheet stickers. So yeah, this is way more my speed. I don't mind being stuck at a border crossing like this. There my boy's in the background. He's saying, hey.
We were, in fact, stuck. Despite crossing the appropriate T's and dotting the requisite I's, Customs could not issue our temporary import permit, leaving the 3 of us stranded at this remote border crossing. 2 hours and counting.
Yeah, strange situation. Definitely not an update I thought I'd have to give, but here we are. So I apologize for staring awkwardly into the camera for the last however many minutes it's been. And yeah, back to your regularly scheduled program, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. All right.